This podcast contains strong language and discussions about relationships, sex, and love. It may not be suitable for younger listeners. This is the Sex and Singapore City podcast, and I am Nixalina. Hi, it's Nixalina, and welcome to another Monday evening of me. Yay! Because we all can't get enough of me. Today's episode is, when is too soon actually too soon in a relationship? I'm sure you guys and girls have heard of people being like, oh my God, that's way too soon. Or, my God, that was really quick. That's way too soon. That's not going to end well. They got together too soon. They got married too soon. They got a kid already? That's too soon, right? It comes from people that are, of course, there's two camps, just judgmental or trying to help / be concerned about the person. These kind of ideas of, that's too soon. Pretty negative, right? It's not a nice thing. Saying something's happening too soon usually implies there is ulterior motives behind what's going on, or that the people moving too soon have problems, that's a car crash waiting to happen. So I will use my current relationship as an example. I have been with my fiancé 7 or 8 months maximum. Yeah, you heard right. Fiancé. Not even a year. That's too soon, right? That is way too fucking soon, Nixalina. You're obviously desperate for marriage and you just picked someone off the street. Yeah, no. What has happened with me and my boyfriend, fiancé, husband-to-be. Can I still call him my boyfriend if he's my fiancé? I can, right? It just feels better. Basically, we met and it was an instant connection. Yes, I've had instant connections with my past, including the narc ex and ones before him as well, the boss and all that jazz. So that doesn't mean anything, right? But what was so different with me and my current partner is that it was just natural. It never crossed my mind to be worried about where he is, to be concerned that he wouldn't be loyal, to take it slowly. I did try, as I mentioned in other episodes, to keep him at arm's length, but that was because I was very well aware of my own healing. I felt like I was still had a little way to go. And I was being very protective over my singleness and being alone. But it just naturally fell into place. Within a month, he's at my birthday, buying me really lovely gifts and meeting all my friends, and it didn't feel weird. But when I look back, I'm like, wow, I've knew him 4 weeks, 4 weeks, and he's at the dinner table next to me. Okay. That's too soon. That's too soon, right? But is it? Is it? Because it didn't feel wrong on any level. And it's not just, meeting the family, meeting the friends or whatever. It was the way we communicated with each other. Like, I opened up to him on date 2 about everything. And my dark secrets. Yes, yeah. I don't share everything with you guys. I got some skeletons. I haven't killed anyone or anything. No. But yeah, I just said like this and that, and this is my past and whatever on date 2. What? Yeah. And he was just like, wow, yeah, cool. Thanks for telling me. And it wasn't even a problem, all those things that you're scared of telling someone you just met. And you're like, oh, I just don't know how they're going to react and whatever. He was like, yeah, brush, next. And he's just been so supportive from day one on everything. I don't want this to turn into like a fucking ego inflation of him because, asshole. No, it's not. But, this isn't just to big up my partner, but I'm saying it just... The timeline of us doesn't feel like it reflects us. we've been through a lot in the first 6 months, like a lot. I had 2 surgeries, one planned, one unplanned. Couldn't exercise for 2 months. We moved in together and he's proposed. It's just been like a lot. Does that mean it's too soon? I think on paper, I'd say, wow, yeah. 6 months to a proposal is so damn quick. What's the rush? Like, why? I think we can all safely say we'd all probably think those thoughts. But actually, there is no rush. It's not like we have to get married, or it's not like I pressured him. He's more the one wanting the engagement, the marriage, the babies than I am at the moment. Like, I'm quite chill with another year or 2 years, Also, I just don't want to plan a fucking wedding. Call a spade a spade. Planning my wedding is already stress I don't want. Wedding planners out there, hit your girl up at Nixalina. Plan my wedding for me, please. So yeah, when is too soon actually too soon? On paper, what our relationship is probably too soon, but yet it's not. It's so natural. And any of my friends and family who then meet us together in person are just like, you two were just meant to be together. It was like you were always together. That's how natural it is. I never had that with any of my exes, but especially not the last one. And I was with my ex for up to 5 years and he refused any level of commitment, of which my fiancé has managed to offer me in 6 months. So it's not actually the time frame, I think, that judges a relationship. It's the character of the person that you're with. And I'm going to say that one more time. It's not the time frame that judges the relationship. It's the character of the person that you're with. Because within the first 3 months when I met him, people were really judgy and saying some really horrible shit. Like, you know who you are. Grow up. But I also had people message me. I'm like, whoa, don't move in with him just yet. It's too soon. Like, and when I defend what was going on, I'm like, hang on a minute. My contract is coming to an end on my lease. So I either get in somewhere else for a year where I pay rent myself, or he's offered to move in somewhere gorgeous with me and said I don't have to worry about paying the rent. And why the fuck would I take the other option when we spend all our time together anyway? I would be literally burning thousands of dollars if I chose that option. So he was even offering to move in together to help me as well. Like, it was always with me in mind. And I had to explain this to this person. And then they're like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. In all honesty, I would do the same then in that situation. I'm like, well, yeah, but I shouldn't have to expect. How dare you message me like that and attack my decisions because you've deemed it too soon? And it was like very much whenever I was responding, like, actually, no, this is this and this, this person was like, well, you're being very defensive and not open to my advice. And I was like, well, of course I'm not open to I'm not being defensive. I'm explaining my life choices, of which I actually shouldn't have to do that. There was no positive, oh my God, I'm so happy for you. I can't believe you found this person. Nothing. It was just judge, judge, judge. And I've had that a lot since I met him. People seem to be much more receptive to me when I was miserable, which is a very sad case of the circle of people. But whilst I was pissed off with this and there was no positive, happy conversation there, and then when we got engaged, the person didn't say a word either, like whatever. But I do get where they're coming from because it's 3 months and you're moving in together, Is that too soon? And this is why I wanted to talk about it, because it's like, when is too soon actually too soon and when is it not? We always meet people where they're like, oh, meeting the family is a big deal. Like, I don't want you to meet my family for a couple of months. I don't want you to meet my friends for a couple of months. Or perhaps you're the one that's like, oh, it's too concrete for me if you meet my mum and dad. I don't want to spend 4 nights a week at yours. It's too soon. You might be that way. But what I want to really, stress is that relationships and love doesn't come with a timeline. And when I first met my partner, and I was like the one like, whoa, like, I don't know what to do with this. This is a lot. One of my best friends, she's like, look, I know a couple that got engaged after a month together. Like, it's been years and years and years and years, and they're still happily married with babies, like a month. And I guess the older generations, like you look back at my nan and granddad, and that was all very normal to meet someone and then very, very quickly have the marriage on the cards, the house, the babies. Like, that's how it was. And these people stayed together their whole life. My nan and granddad were together. Both my sets of granddads and nans were together their whole life. On the flip side, I have my sister who met someone when they were 18. She's now 36. Still not married. Still not married. They have been engaged for years, and they did, bless them, try and get married for the last 2 years, but COVID saw that off. So hopefully next year we can nail it. But yeah, 18 to I think 30, 32, there was no proposal. And people weirdly were then judgy about that. Like, why has he not dropped the knee? Why has he not proposed? What, you've been together that long and he's not proposed? Oh, maybe he's not serious about you. Like, there's just fucking judgment whether you do and you don't. They have 2 beautiful children together, my niece and nephew. And they are probably the most grounded, loved up, happy home life couple I've ever met. Like, if I had to pinpoint a family home that I would like myself, it's my sister and my brother-in-law. I can't say brother-in-law yet, can I? Because he ain't married her. But yeah, the longevity of the time it took for him to propose, people then saw that as a problem. And it wasn't that he wasn't sure about her. They were instantly together. It was like, we met at a club, done, you know? But they just both didn't really highlight marriage as something that was extremely important or needed to be rushed. You know, we don't come from a religious background. We don't see any of the religious connotations that lots of people have. So I guess I'm also similar to that, right? I'm 34 and I'm not like, you know, rushing to be married. I will marry you, babe. I'm not like, oh, let me tell you over a podcast episode that I ain't interested. Just thanks for the ring. Gonna cash it in and fly to Europe. But no, we don't really see any huge rush or label on the kind of marriage babies. But on the same score, me and my sister have a very opposite experience. She's gone her whole life with whatever, and within 6 months, I'm living with him and engaged. Even from her perspective, not that she has, but she could be, wow, this is too soon. But what does too soon, as even a phrase, imply? It implies that it's wrong. What's happening is wrong, right? It's not a positive thing, is it? It's not like, oh, they got together too soon, but you're proud or happy. It's negative. It's coming from a negative standpoint. So what you're saying, you collectively, not you, is if you say that's too soon, they moved in together too soon, she got with him too soon. Even maybe people do that, like after a relationship breakup. You might date someone 3 weeks later, be like, fuck, I really like you, and be with someone within the month of a breakup. Oh, that's too soon. You can't do that. That's too soon, you know? But I feel like this too soon thing needs to really be dropped. When is it too soon in a relationship? Honestly, you never know. That's the answer to this episode, because it cannot be too soon. What if it's just you two met and you were meant to be? I genuinely believe, hand on heart, I went through all that shit and I spent all that time on my own, alone, because I was supposed to be exactly where I am right now. I would never, ever change it for the world if it means I end up with my fiancé. He's the best man I've ever met. I don't feel it's too soon at all on any level. And my friends and family were not fans of my ex. They weren't interested really in they weren't rude or anything to him, and he was always invited to my family home, and he came on my family holidays, and even, you know, my mum would look after his son as if he was part of the family, but they were always had a question mark over him. They weren't like, I guess, happy to have him in the family himself, especially as time went on and he was doing all these, shitty things to me. It became apparent that they were like hoping that I would get out. Whereas my fiance is just like an immediate addition to the family. My mum's already bought his Christmas jumper like a month ago. I think she bought it in October because she's so excited about him coming back to the UK with me for Christmas. But it's just, there's nothing that's too soon about this. But from the outset, when I like the messages I were getting on Instagram, people were like, whoa, this is too soon, and being really like mean about it as well. It wasn't like, are you okay? Like, you seem really happy, but have you thought this through? It was like, oh God, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. And I'm like, I'm a 34-year-old woman, sweetheart. I know what I'm doing by now. If it goes wrong, it goes wrong. C'est la vie. I don't have a home to live with anyway because my contract finished. Like to have to explain that, it just really wound me up. But this happens a lot. We have to do a lot of explaining when there's this too soon question mark. As for on a personal address, like say you're the one thinking, is this too soon? Is this too soon? Don't worry about it appearing to be too soon to other people. Like, drop the concern about opinions. I knew I would get this feedback from certain people because I'm just extremely happy. We are going at a fast pace. I'm not going to deny that, I thought it'd be years with someone before I was engaged. But it's also the most natural, happy, loving, relaxed space I've ever been in. So if you're like, oh, can I introduce them to my family? Can I introduce my friends? Is this too soon? When do I sleep with them? Is that too soon? I think just constantly go on how you feel. If I was feeling like, oh, I'm not sure about him, there's no way any other thing would have happened. Like, I wouldn't have invited him to my birthday dinner 4 weeks having met him if I wasn't entirely sure, You have to really go by your gut feel. I don't think there is ever a too soon in a relationship. I think it's all case by case, and I think a lot of it comes from judgment from outside and from people that don't know the dynamics of the relationship. I do believe there are some incidences where people will push for things in a relationship with ulterior motives. I don't know, maybe they want to marry for money, maybe they want kids to trap the other partner, something like that. But that's, of course, down to the character of the person. Like I said earlier, right? It's not the time frame, it's the person. So if that's going on, then yeah, that is too soon because it's not genuine. They don't want to marry you for you. They're marrying you for your finances, or having children to lock that person in, not because they want children with the person, So it's just so individual, case by case. And honestly, I'm still an old romantic, right? So I still stand by my grandma's generation where they meet them and falls into place and then that's it. It's like together. I've always felt that way. That's why I've always been highly let down by boyfriends that, of course, went AWOL. But yeah, for me, this is exactly how love should be. This isn't too soon. This is natural, normal, and exactly what I would like and have expected when I met the person that I'll be with, But from, I guess on paper, it's all too soon, But like, who gets to say, is it too soon? Who decides the time frame of too soon? When is it okay for me to have got engaged? When are people happy? 2 years? 3 years? When am I allowed kids without judgment? A year? 2 years? What if I'm nearly 40? Like, you know what I mean? What if I have kids tomorrow? It's just, I don't think we can ever really live our lives based on other people's opinions, and which obviously you are all well aware I do not do anymore. I don't think I ever have. But too soon in a relationship is completely down to how you feel about whatever's going on in your relationship and how you feel towards that person and your gut feeling. If something feels wrong or you're like, this feels rushed or I'm not ready, listen to that. That's your parameter of too soon, not what other people think it is or what is socially acceptable, you know. Oh, can't get engaged after a month. That's not acceptable. Can't get engaged after 6 months. That's not acceptable. Like, yeah, throw all those rule books out the window. And be guided by your own heart instead. Thank you for listening. That is the end of this episode. Thanks for listening to the Sex and Singapore City podcast. This episode was produced and hosted by me, Nick Selena, and recorded at the Splicecast studio in Singapore. I'm available to listen to on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, and all major podcast listening apps. Do subscribe to enjoy a new episode every Monday evening. Please do give me a 5-star review. It helps other people also find my podcast. For more awesome content and features to read, you can check out my website, sexandsingaporecity.com. That's sexandsingaporecity.com. I'm also on social media. Simply search at Nick Selena, Nixalina, to find me. Don't be shy. Come say hi.